Yo, mic check, 1 check, 1 2 1 2, all that good stuff that you say at the beginning of the recording.
Microphone check, 1
Mic
2,
2, what is this? Oh, Tribe Called Quest. Are we gonna start with that? We're gonna start with the
I mean,
that was dope. Hey, Justin.
I don't have much culture to bring to the table.
Hey,
Like, I'm just like the business guy, so
you
I'll
brought it up.
That's all you need right
Okay.
there. The little tribe reference. Hey guys, welcome to the Carrot Podcast, episode 7. I think. Yeah, episode 7. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. Episode 7. Thank y'all for joining us. If you've been watching for these 7 episodes, holy shit, what are you doing with your life? You're just like, damn. No,
committed.
seriously, freaking thank you. If this is your first one, second one, I don't care. But thank you for joining in. You don't have to be listening or watching this. If you're on your way to work, good morning, motherfucker. Go kill that shit. My name is Malik Adigan, your host for today. We got my usual co-host, Edwin. What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
What's going on?
You feeling good? You feeling good? We in a new set. We in a
Dude,
new location
I'm
today.
loving the new vibe, man.
Fucking dope, isn't it?
Love it.
The brick wall.
The brick wall. Same plants though.
My
Plants.
favorite part. My favorite part is the lady with the bike that passes by like 10
She passed
times.
by 8 times this last episode.
Just smoking a cigarette.
And the pig.
She's like the official bike lady of the
There's
podcast.
some characters downtown.
There's some
Definitely
characters.
characters.
Dude, the lady was just going back and forth with the freaking. She has like
Everything.
She's got
She has a
everything on the
Pikachu
back.
bag.
Dude, she has a tent.
And she always has a cigarette.
Always. It's not even lit. It's just.
She's not lit. She is not lit. Yeah, we got the new set, man. I'm really excited. We're like right in the heart of downtown with First Street, next to across the street from the lodge. I think I just got approved for to live like right across the street upstairs. So
Dude.
super excited.
That's
This is
awesome.
like prime location. This is where at my office, the Wedding Collective. It's pretty much like all your wedding shit you could get. It's pretty professional. So all your wedding shit. Anyways,
We're professional,
my boy Kyle, man, how you doing, man?
What up,
Good
man?
to see you, brother.
Yeah, bro.
You look nice. You look
Thanks,
good.
man.
You like the nice
I'm
denim.
trying.
He does
You
look
look
good.
fresh,
You got
bro.
the denim too? You know we got the message.
Didn't
Yeah,
get the memo, bro.
Didn't get the memo.
Didn't get the memo.
I knew I was going to mess up this
You didn't get
episode.
He has a little pen.
got a
here.
pen?
Little
Looking
Palm Pilot.
professional.
You never know. You can ask my wife. She knows I always have a pen on me.
Yeah, last episode we had a lot of people walking by and stuff. We had a pig show up in the last episode. So hey, look, if anybody walks by, if you're watching this, like, hey, cool, man. Like, it's just, you know, it's what it is. It's like watching TRL back in high school, you know.
People,
Hey, what's going
they're
on?
always
back there?
looking.
Hey, is Limp Bizkit playing today? Well, thank y'all for my good old host, usual host. Thank y'all for being here. But man, super excited to introduce this next guest. Good, I would consider him a good friend. Also, I would consider him an inspiration from afar. I would consider him a dude that, as an adolescent, always had a great spirit, always had empathy, and just really cool, man. Like, went to high school with him, Mariner High, Tritons, all day, every day, you know what I'm saying? Mariner High, you know what I'm saying? No, but he's a dude that's been making some moves locally, business-wise, a guy that I look up to as far as entrepreneurially. Like, I just want to be like this guy. And so a guy that's helped me out when I've had a lot of crisis with my technology. And just a dude who is doing some really cool stuff and growing a lot, has a pretty much an empire, a part of the empire here and pretty much nationally. So give it up for my boy Justin Murphy. Come on, baby.
Thank you.
We call him. Hey, St. Patty's Day is in like 2 days. This is
Yeah,
your
it's in a couple days,
week
isn't it?
because you're like super Irish, right?
Yep. Yeah.
From Boston.
Yeah, I'm from Rhode Island originally, but
Rhode Island.
basically
Close
like all of New England, you can just say Boston. Same
Shit.
thing.
You're redheaded, right?
Yeah. It says
You're
strawberry
redheaded
blonde.
Irish from around Boston. Like that's like Matt
and
Damon.
Murphy is like the Smith
Damn,
or like
dude.
the Johnson of Ireland. It's
and
like
you
the
have
number
like
one
you have a
surname.
tattoo, right? You have a Boston Celtics tattoo, right?
I have a Red Sox.
No,
tattoo.
Red Sox. Red
Yeah,
Sox.
It was like
Dude.
celebratory.
Badass.
Thing.
And-
Yeah, I was like 15. when I got
And
it.
Fort Myers is where
Yeah,
the
and
Red
Fort Myers
Sox
is
play
yep,
spring training.
Do you go to? Do you have like a
Yeah,
season pass?
well, no, I mean, if to be completely honest with you, I'm way too busy to care about sports nowadays. It's,
Damn.
You should definitely
Shit.
wait until you're older to get tattoos, because,
Sure.
you know, 15 to 25.
I
lot of changes.
just got my first one, man.
Yeah.
Just got it. It's right here. So even when I wear a short sleeve, like I try to be professional in the summer, you know, like try to wear like the short sleeve dress shirt. It's like I gotta like tuck it, you know, because my muscles are so big that, you know. Dude, welcome, man. Thank you for
Thanks
coming.
for having me.
You have literally have an office down.
So it's not our newest, but our second newest location in Fort Myers downtown. It's right around the corner on Henry Street, right next door to Downtown House Pizza.
UBreakiFix.
UBreakiFix.
How the heck? Dude, I knew you in high school. You're just like a jack of all trade type of dude. Just hang out with different people. But like, how did you get into this business, man? How did fixing technology?
So, yeah, well, you know, actually, it's something that I almost forget about. But back like in high school, you know, I fixed a couple things. Like everybody had sidekicks, and I broke my own, and I figured out how to
the flip with the kick flip that bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I forget how exactly what happened. I think I broke my own the screen, and then I just looked up, you know, the replacement screen and the part, you know, the tools and everything, and it actually, that particular phone, like Sidekick 2, Sidekick 3, the whole mechanism thing, like it looks kind of scary, but it was actually pretty simple, like a couple screws and a couple plugs, and that was it. So I figured out how to do that, and I did that, I think, for myself, and then at least one or two other people asked me to do that. And yeah, just growing up, I was always really interested in, you know, technology and the future, you know, what's gonna be around the corner, so to speak.
Dude, what did you like space movies and shit? Like, was that like your thing? Like, what?
Yeah,
what's your favorite futuristic movie?
Well, did you take Sci-Fi at Mariner with Riddle?
Come, Space Odyssey,
2001 Space. That's how it opens up. I mean, obviously, I'm blaming that on Riddle. Like Riddle, you know, taught me how to watch a film. I think you know, he would want me to call it a film, not a movie.
Not a movie. Dude.
But yeah, side note, I actually took that class twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you held yourself back.
Well, kind of. So I took it in my junior year, and then in our senior year, it was the same class, but they changed the like course name and like the course number and all that. And Miss Mallet, who was like my your guidance counselor. Yeah, the person that does your schedule.
Supposed to guide you.
Yeah, I was in National Honor Society, and I already knew her. She was like the National Honor Society like head know, person. So I got her, and I just like made my schedule. Like, this is what I want. Handed her, hey, here you go, Miss Mallet. Okay.
She didn't ask questions.
Yeah, just didn't ask questions. And so I took it again. I only got to take it for the first semester because I think I wanted to take photography too the last semester. I don't know. Yeah,
Frank.
Yep.
It's the homie, man.
But yeah, so always interested in technology. Growing up, 2001: Space Odyssey is definitely one of my favorite films. Favorite one of like, honestly, I'm not good about reading books. It's like one of the few books in my lifetime that I really remember like reading all of it. And obviously it was because it was an assignment too. But I definitely didn't read all of my books that were there for assignments either. But I definitely enjoyed,
shout out to Cliff Notes.
Shout out to Cliff Notes. Yeah. But yeah, 2001 is pretty dope.
Damn, man. Yeah. So you were always. I think that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people fail to adapt to that idea of the future, right? Like leaving the thing behind of whatever. CDs, even CDs is like, someone asked me the other day, hey, can you burn this CD for me? I'm like, I have no idea even how to do that. Like, where do I find a CD?
Computers don't have disk drives anymore. I mean, video games don't, you know, you download them.
And so you could get stuck in the past or even the present. It's like, in order to really be with, at least with technology, you kind of have to. Do you? And I'm just like speaking on it, but like, do you feel like you have to live in the future with it? Like, is it? Like, how do you stay on that line of innovation?
And no. Nowadays, especially now that I'm a dad, and you know my daughter Stella. So I've got a 2.5-year-old girl, and you know she just sits there and she can play on the iPad. She could just be stuck there if you let her. And so I don't know, like technology is a great thing that, you know, brings people together, but at the same time it can like push people apart. You know, people, you know, you go out drinking, everybody's just sitting there on their phone, you know, together but not really together. So as far as technology goes, I mean, I feel like it's, you know, you always got to be seeing what's ahead, you know, but not forget, you know, what do I want to say exactly? Basically, don't forget about like the good things
Wow.
that are in the past, basically.
Right.
You know, because you can change too quickly, and then you might need to revert back to what you're doing.
Well,
I guess
people are
that
like
makes-
going crazy for records, like this.
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure,
these
yeah,
guys
it's
have
like-
a
it's like
crazy
a-
record collection,
right, and that's probably like a cyclical thing. And in 5 years, it'll probably be 8 tracks.
wow.
You know,
Sure.
maybe.
We gotta get on the
Tapes.
8-track game.
Eight-track.
Yep.
It is crazy, like a band will release like some sort of like tape record sort of package, and you're like, this is a fucking tape, like, and you have to
Yeah.
go to like a vintage store and like find a tape
Right.
player, like,
Yeah.
you know, like if I had a Walkman, that'd be freaking wild to find, you know, like.
I'll
holy
sell
shit.
you one.
You sell me? You got me?
$10.
I only want the yellow Sony one,
Dude,
bruh.
my grandma's got like
Dude.
20
with
of
the
them in her attic.
freaking dang little dangle,
The little
around
wire
the top,
ones?
Oh,
bruh.
my.
Dude,
What? That
my
was
grandma's got
wild.
like 20 of them.
So you said you got a. Yo, I DJ'd your wedding. Man.
You did DJ my
Holy
wedding, and
shit.
I don't even think you were like really DJing at the time.
Yeah, I was like
but
part time in it.
I was like, yo, man, I need you to DJ my wedding because I'm not gonna make. I proposed to my wife or my girlfriend at the time, Nikki. Like
Shout
the
out to
night.
Nikki. Shout out to Nikki. Yeah.
Proposed to her the night that we came home with the baby, which was like right at the beginning of September, and we got married December 21st. So it was like from start to finish was like 3 months, and we just
Let's
got
go.
everything
Wow.
together. And I
Yeah.
didn't have time to
Yeah.
hunt and search for another DJ. So it
That's
was like
beautiful. That's
crazy.
Beautiful. No, I had a great time, and just, you know, I think that's, you know, how do you, because you have a kid, you have one, right?
I have 2.
You have 2.
So I have a.
You just had one.
Well, she's just like almost a year ago. She's 10 months now. She just turned 10
Wow.
months.
Dang.
Yeah, it's so quick. So quick.
Feels like 10 years, bro.
Mhm.
That's the future, bro. I'm scared of it.
That's the
Shoot,
We're
you
living
have
in the
one kid
future.
and then like 10 pop out.
Probably not gonna be a third anytime soon. Two's plenty. Two's a
Hey,
handful.
they
You never
break,
know.
You fix it. You know what I'm saying?
You broke it. You can't fix that.
So how do you? Maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but like, how do you balance that
Work and life.
Yeah, like the entrepreneurial, like go-getter, expanding. Because you've been expanding. I mean, you've been opening up stores like crazy,
Yeah.
and then you have your 2 kids and wife. How do you
So
do
I
that?
mean, I'm very, very fortunate. Super, super fortunate. One of the luckiest guys in Fort Myers,
Yeah.
guaranteed. You know, I basically made the conscious decision to, you know, start a family, start to have kids once I knew that I had a decent income, decent, had my
Yeah.
shit together, basically. Just making sure that I had just like a nice, stable, place to have a wife and
Yeah.
kids, basically.
So you were comfortable before
Yeah.
you were,
Yeah,
you
basically.
were settled more so.
Yeah, and then basically, what I did to expand so rapidly was I took all of my employees who worked their way up and partnered with them. Basically, I have a different business partner at each location.
And those are like your friends.
And yeah.
'Cause I know them. I went to school with half
Yeah,
of them.
I've got a lot of friends who were employees that worked their way up to, management, that worked their way up to owners, basically.
That's
And
crazy.
there's a handful here in Southwest Florida, and then there's a handful of people that are from Cape Coral that graduated, high school here that are elsewhere in the country that own and manage UBreaks out in Colorado, Denver.
UBreak started where? Where did
So
you?
UBreakiFix started in Orlando. It was started by a couple of UCF graduates. And
A lot of stuff has come from like that college. Because didn't like Moe's start from like or like,
Chipotle.
not,
that might have been
I think.
Tijuana Flats.
Tijuana?
I
It
think
was
Tijuana Flats.
Tijuana from
Yeah.
UCF, right?
I think so.
Like,
Wow.
what about that environment is sort of like what about that environment is potent for like that entrepreneurial?
They were already out of college. Right?
They were out,
graduated,
okay.
Yeah, and the one guy, Justin Wetherill, who is the president CEO of UBreakiFix, he was I think like 21 at the time, maybe 21, 22, and he broke his iPhone, very first iPhone, not even 3G, like the 2G, and he went to go get it fixed, and it was like $200 something, and he thought that was crazy, so he kind of did like what I did with Sidekick. And went online, found the replacement parts, found tools. He got him in, busted open his phone, broke it even worse to the point that he couldn't fix it at all, couldn't replace it, he just fried the board. But he said, "Well, hang on, I think we're on something here." And he started just buying broken phones, and flipping them basically to make a profit. And they also had basically like an eBay store where, you know, they didn't have like a website yet, so they just started an eBay store, you know, for $80, and you send your phone into them, they fix it, and that turned into the website UBreakiFix.com, and then that turned into the first actual brick and mortar store in Orlando, and that was in 2009.
Wow.
And so when I started with the company,
That was our senior year.
yeah, yep,
09.
09,
Shouts
class of
out.
09, yep.
You youngins don't know about that shit. You youngins, they're like
Nope.
21,
Don't know
20.
anything
Shout out
about that.
2011.
Dude, if you graduated a double digit, you're young as shit. 'Cause we're 09, bitch.
Yeah,
When did you
not
graduate?
10.
I'm not even.
Remember that dude? Like 010, they were like
Yeah.
10, 10. I'm like, shut up, bro. You can't even say that shit at pep rally, bro.
10.
10.
Mine was worse.
What were you?
13.
Damn, the world's supposed to be over by then. 2012 was like the end of the world, dude, and you're still like alive.
You graduated.
Damn. Okay, so 09 they started that.
Yeah. So they started in 09, and then so my sort of origin story to how I got into UBreak is so graduated from Mariner 09, moved to Boca Raton, went to FAU, Florida Atlantic, and
Owls.
yep.
Business degree?
I was pursuing a business degree.
Okay. Pursuing.
And so started working at Best Buy when I was a freshman. I worked at Circuit City here in Fort Myers, Cape Coral,
Were you
right
a
up
genius?
until I was not. Well, they're at Apple. I was
Geek Squad.
A geek. Oh shit. See, damn. Sorry.
But anyways,
Shout out to Apple for never freaking doing shit for me and for making expensive shit that I buy all the time. All right, cool.
so it's so 2010. Lived the first year in the dorms and
Okay.
was working at Best Buy. Moved to an apartment sophomore year, and I was on my way home from school. I think it was fall of 2010, and was on my way home. Stopped at Subway to get a sandwich just on my way home, and I see next door to Subway this place called UBreakiFix.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, what's that? It just caught my eye. And so I go in, get the sandwich, and I come back out, and I see a guy like loading his car. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You know, what's the deal? UBreakiFix? Like, what do you do? Are you guys hiring? Like, what's up? And this guy named Rolly, he happened to be the owner of the store. He was just working there, like, basically by himself 7 days a week at the time. And so I started there as a technician. And at the time, there was only 9 locations total. Wow. There was, like, Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Boca, and then, like, a handful. Like, they had one in L.A., and they had one in, I think, Atlanta, and they had Jacksonville. And it's still very, very early on.
Sure.
And so I started there, and since it was still so early on, and people were continuing to open up stores, that I basically went from technician to manager like almost instantly, like after a couple months.
Wow.
And then another couple months went by, and everything was still pretty like tight knit, kind of everybody knew everybody.
Was the environment like what? Because I feel like there's probably a lot of people listening who are working a 9 to 5 or working for someone else. What about that environment was able where you that tapped into that thing that made you want to be a manager? Like, did you want to be a manager starting off? Like, did they have the environment that fostered that? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, they weren't really trying to. It was pretty organic at that point, because this is back when it was all private. It wasn't like nowadays it's franchise, and John Doe off the street can come in, and if they like you, if you have the money, you can open up a store. That's franchise. But back then, everything was private, so you basically had to know one of the first 3 guys basically that started the company. And so it was really tight knit. The CEO who I met, Justin, he basically was happy with how I was running the Boca Raton store. Our sales were going up, and we were continuing to make customers happy and do more repairs, this, that, and the other thing. And I said to him, I was like, hey, Fort Myers could use this. I'll drop out of school. I'll move back. I'll move. Yeah, I mean, so I started there like the end of the year, is a little bit after Thanksgiving. And so probably by February or March, I realized that this was gonna be a thing for sure. Because back then, nobody's really fixing anything.
Right.
It was just like you had insurance, you replaced the phone. It's still pretty much like a new industry. And I just realized if I ever had the chance to open up my own store, that's what I would do. I would totally pursue that in a second. And so it was our first annual 4th of July meeting, party, get together basically. And I said, hey, Justin, I'll do whatever I got to do. I'm gonna move home, move in with mom and dad, borrow money, do whatever I got to do. I think Fort Myers could use this, and so we scouted out Fort Myers. We found the store in the forum, and we did that.
Wow, dude.
So you brought it here too?
Yeah, basically, like there was actually a couple other people affiliated with UBreak from Southwest Florida, but yeah, I was basically like the first domino that fell, so to speak, to bring it into Southwest Florida as a whole.
Because I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale area. And I remember seeing them pop up everywhere.
Yeah, one of the very first stores was in Pines, Pembroke Pines.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah,
and there's one like right by my high school in Davie.
Okay.
So then when I moved here like 2.5 years ago, I saw that they had it here. I was like,
yeah, a lot of the OGs grew up in Pembroke Pines.
Wow.
And you might know it. I think it's like Pines Charter.
Pines Charter, yeah.
I think that's where they went.
crazy.
Damn.
So.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's been a lot of very small world type of cool scenarios and situations that have happened in UBreak. And like I was saying, some of the guys that used to work for me here in Southwest Florida are actually out in Denver now. And they
Hunter?
Well, so that's kind of like a reverse small world story, because I didn't actually have any direct influence to Hunter. Like, me and Hunter were best friends growing up, but he got into UBreakiFix via Mike, and I got Mike into UBreakiFix. So what happened, one of my guys, Mike, he was working for me down in Naples, and he was going out to Denver for vacation, just to visit a friend or two.
Yeah.
Get some fresh air
Sure.
while I was out there. And he was on Reddit, so he goes onto the Denver subreddit just to see like what's going on, what's happening this weekend. I'm going to be there. Is there any concerts? Just whatever. See what's going on. And he sees a posting. It says job posting, smartphone repair technician. And he clicks on it, and it's like, yeah, now hiring, looking for a smartphone repair technician in one of the locations in Denver. And it happened to be UBreakiFix. And it just so happened to be one of, like, I know that owner very well.
Wow.
His name's Robert, yeah. So Mike's like, hey, man, so I'm going out to Denver, and I found this job listing, and, you know, I think I might interview while I'm out there. You know, I'm just been living in Southwest Florida. I'm just like, hey, you know, by all means, I support it. You know, not everybody's going to stay in Southwest Florida forever. And so he said, yeah, I'm going to interview. I said, you know, I know the owner. Do you want me to give him a call? And he said, yeah. So I called him up, and sure enough, he started working for him out there. And then basically Mike took over as manager for that location that he was working at. And Hunter, he lived like outside of Denver, and he was moving into Denver right around the same time. And Mike said, well, hey, just come work for me. And so he did. And then, you know, both Mike and Hunter are store owners now.
Crazy small world. Wow.
So you guys are like continuing to keep it small too, right? Because you said like your friends are like most of like the owners around here, right?
So me personally, like, I'm trying to keep it relatively tight knit.
Yeah.
You know, I saw basically when things were brand new, Justin and David Nettie, those three guys that started it, they basically just kind of like got their friends together to start working for them. And then it was like, okay, so you like the very first employee, Carlos and Trevor, which is Justin's little brother, you guys go out to LA and start the LA stores. And
This is an LA store.
Yeah, we got stores all over California now. We're pushing 300 now.
What?
Yeah, not me.
No, yeah.
But
shit, damn.
yeah, pushing 300. Right at just like right at the end of the year, they hit 275, which is when we opened up South Fort Myers on Daniels 41. It was like store number 275.
You guys are killing it.
Crazy.
Yeah, but yeah. So I saw Justin and them basically hire all their friends and stuff, and you know, keep it tight knit, and give the people that worked hard their piece of the pie, and you know, all that. And I tried to emulate it, basically. You know, I just tried to copy that. Yeah. And when I came to Fort Myers, it was basically just me right off the bat. And I hired my good friend Andrew,
shout out to Andrew. Yeah, motherfucker's fixing my shit right now. Yeah, my freaking laptop is dying right now. So.
I was hoping it was gonna be ready. It's gonna be ready tomorrow. I was really hoping it was gonna be ready today.
It's fine. It's fine. By screen, dude. I go to sleep. I'm like, I watch YouTube videos or podcasts as I go to sleep, and I usually keep it on my bed. And so, like, I woke up one morning and my computer was like literally turned over on the floor. I was like, oh, whatever, it fell. I turned it back on, and it's like literally like like you ever seen the movie The Ring? It's like a little fucking lady coming out like flicking me off, like your computer's screwed, bitch. I was like, no. So but then also my computer got stolen like a couple months ago. So Justin's always the guy I'm like,
I can't
hey,
fix it
man.
if it's stolen.
No. Either way, I was like, my hard drive. I have a hard drive. What do I do with it? Like, it's always like, Justin, help me, please. I'm in an emergency. I got a DJ. I got 4 weddings this weekend. Please
Yeah, man.
help.
I woke up to that text message from you at like 8:30, and you had a Facebook post. I think you already had another Facebook post, and everybody's already like on their
Here's the
There's
thing.
a lot of people. Well, go ahead. You
At one, there's like 70% of people tag UBreakiFix in all my posts. Anything about technology, like UBreakiFix, go to them. And then there's like 30% of people are like, you're screwed, bitch. Get a new computer. I'm like, oh shit, man. What's wrong with y'all, dude? Like, calm down.
Jealous of
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but there's a lot. I mean, where do you go get your Apple stuff fixed? I don't know. I
Throw
go
that
to-
shit away. I gotta
Get
buy a new one. Fuck it.
No, but like you guys have a great reputation. You guys take care of people. You guys have a great aesthetic.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
everything
and it's been cool too because I've been there since not the very beginning, but pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how the company has evolved time and time again, and just continue to grow and grow, and year after year, there's more people and it gets bigger, and
Right.
it's now at this point we're pushing 300 stores, and in Orlando they've got a whole corporate office with 70 something people that just work at the corporate office, not fixing anything. They're just customer service people, web people, design people.
What do you consider, like, what is your you just a franchise?
My title, I'm a franchisee basically. And so when we opened up the first store on the Forum, Fort Myers, that's not technically a franchise because it wasn't. They weren't a franchise yet.
Right.
Like I said, you just had to know the right people
Right.
and basically partner with them. And now it's franchise. So like I said, anybody that really wants to do it, that has the means to do it, and the drive, really, then they can.
How many stores do you like? So when you franchise, do you own that store? Is that like?
Yeah, basically.
What do you mean? What does it mean to franchise?
So okay, so you have the franchisor basically is UBreakiFix, and what a franchisor does is basically just gives you their plan, basically their everything,
their formula,
how they conduct their business.
Sure.
And basically you're paying for the right to use that, basically. There's a ton of businesses that are franchises. I mean, Subway, Moe's,
Chick-fil-A.
Five Guys.
Yeah.
I'm hungry as shit. So just thinking of that when you
Just
right
thinking
now.
about food.
But
Right.
yeah, so basically, you pay a franchise fee up front. Thank you for letting me use the name, basically. And then there's a monthly royalty after that. So it is kind of like you have an additional business partner, but for the amount that you get, it's really.
And they give you the stuff. No.
Well,
Or
well,
what?
I mean the stuff. Well, they give you the tools. I mean, like there's so much stuff that goes on like in the background. Like our whole like system that we use called Portal. They've been developing it for years, and they're continuing to redevelop. Actually, just today, like they just released like a semi-major like update, and compared to any mom and pop can just use like QuickBooks point of sale, but it's not really that easy when when it's on this level, I guess. So the guys at corporate stay busy and just continue to make things uniform, I guess.
Yeah.
So how is it that like there's a new iPhone that comes out every year,
Right.
new Galaxy, whatever, whatnot? Like how do you guys stay on top of that? Like, is there like inside information, or you guys?
Not really. I
just-
mean, as soon as basically the trend is that as soon as a device comes out, the replacement parts are usually going to be available right away in limited quantities and at skyrocket prices. Like when an iPhone, like the iPhone 7, when it came out, you could buy a replacement screen for it the next day, but it was like $400 or $500.
Wow.
Just doesn't even make
Shit.
sense. So usually after a few months, it starts to get more affordable. But it just depends. Some of the stuff nowadays it's like so expensive that
Right.
people just don't want to fix it.
So
Like
you
the
guys
newer
have to-
Samsung phones, S6, S7, like if you bust the screen on that, bust the LCD, like
go buy no.
It's still cheaper to fix it, but like people just like laugh in our face when it's like, yeah, it's gonna be $349.99 to fix your screen.
Yeah.
Low price guarantee will beat anybody by $5. You know, if anybody,
Yeah.
you know, but
how do you can't? Yeah, because like you can't really give low prices because you have to buy the equipment, right? Or like the screen is that much, so you
yeah, like that. I'm you know the screen cost
what it costs,
right? Exactly.
So the discount's really in the service,
right? Yeah, and honestly, sometimes you know when the devices are brand new, we'll do those repairs for less labor, just to help try to get them in the door, basically. Because you know.
Yeah, how do you distinguish yourself from whoever that does this? What makes UBreakiFix different from like whatever Joe Schmo repair? Like what makes you guys different?
Well, I think when they really started this, they knew the one big most important thing is customer service. No matter what, customers got to be happy.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not perfect, you know, by all means. I have broken devices for sure.
Yeah.
I've been, you know, just slip of the wrist and that's it. Fry motherboard. What happens in that case is I lose money and I go buy somebody a new phone because, well, maybe not a brand new phone, but I'm going to replace it and take a hit and, you know, actually go into my pocket to buy you something new because that's the right thing to do.
Wow.
So, you know, really like the big customer service.
Well, that's a lot of. I mean, even the DJ service is like. Yeah, you could be very good technically with, you know, the mixing and the BPMs and knowing your music, but like at least when it comes to weddings, like if you're shitty, like if you have bad people skills or you're awkward on the mic or whatever, that's like a deal breaker. You know, that's a lot of times when brides come to me, they're like, "Hey man, like I just want someone that's not awkward or weird or like, you know, like and a lot of times behind the scenes stuff is like someone who's just like nice and happy on the phone, and when you meet with them, it's just a lot of the customer service.
Yeah, and some of that stuff you really can't teach. You know, back in the day, we used to, when we were like trying to hire people, we would, you know, look at resumes, and if somebody worked at a computer repair store or something like that, it'd be like, oh, okay, cool. So they, you know, good base, you know, let's hire them. But then they come in and they think they know it all. They want to run the show. No, I'm going to fix this way. Or no, they don't like want to do things our way. So it ends up not working out.
Right.
What we try to do now is we try to hire people that have good customer service backgrounds, sales backgrounds, and then they come in not knowing how to fix anything, but we'll teach you how to fix. But you know, I can't teach you how to be a nice person. I can't teach you how to just have a conversation. Right. You know, that we've definitely run into a couple situations where it's like, hey, I can't put you out front, and I can't let you talk to people on the phone. And you're a decent tech, but like I need everybody to be well rounded. And
so for you, what things came naturally, and what things did you have to learn as far as in this business or in business in general for you? What things were like really freaking hard, or what things were really easy for you? Well,
I feel like my resume, real quick, would be when I was 14. The reason I wanted to get a job in the first place was to pay for my sidekick. Because my parents had AT&T.
It all goes back to the sidekick, man, really.
And I could have stayed on AT&T with them with the flip phone, T-Mobile. But you had T-Mobile, sidekick, you can only use T-Mobile. So they were like, if you want a sidekick, go get a job. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go get a job at Publix. My dad worked at Publix. And, you know, at 14... that's like the only place you can like work, basically. Yeah. So my dad helped me get a job, and I started bagging groceries, and I could afford my sidekick. Yeah. So where are we going with that, though? I just forgot that.
No, like just like what things were easy for you and what things were kind of hard.
But yeah, so basically, you know, my first job was customer service, and Publix customer service, hand in hand. That's that. You know, if I feel like I might not have been super comfortable being a 14-year-old, just, you know, like talking to people right off the bat, but you know, you're just standing there bagging groceries and getting carts, and it's a natural thing. You talk to people and you just keep talking and talking and talking. And then after that, I worked at Circuit City, and then, like I said, Best Buy and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I was just really a really good candidate because the customer service stuff came easy to me because
you knew how to talk to people.
Because I already knew how to talk to people, and I was also passionate about technology. I was actually just genuinely interested in this stuff and how it works. I mean, I'm not super, you know, nerdy, like engineering level stuff. Like it can get very, very technical, but I just like taking stuff apart, putting it back together. Right. You know, like when I was a kid, like before the days of, Sidekicks, I would like grab a screwdriver and like take apart the remote control,
Just
the
to
TV,
see.
and then like maybe not be able to get it put back together.
Right.
But
so you felt, do you because this is whole thing about being like your own brand, like the personal brand thing. A lot of people tell me like, Malik, you're just a brand, like whatever you do, do you feel the same way as like, UBreakiFix is a brand, but behind that UBreakiFix is, at least locally here, I see Justin Murphy, and then like people behind that. But like I feel like a lot of business or branding is like the person. Do you feel the same way? Like, do you feel like you'd be the same thing without Justin, or you like how does that work, man? Like,
that's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, it's tough because nowadays, we got, obviously this is a company that's started by millennials, right?
Sure.
And that's, kind of like when I started, the guy that hired me was like 30, and he was like the way oldest guy in the company, like by far.
Wow.
But now, we've got, franchisees of all ages, shapes and colors, basically. So it's tough to say. I mean, as far as the brand goes, it's really more of like a collective effort, I think.
Right.
Like the guys that work at corporate who actually deal with like selling franchises to, potential franchisees, they're very, very selective about who they let in.
Right.
And you just gotta really make sure that corporate has to make sure that the people are going to do things the UBreak way, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to come in and try to do things their own way necessarily. So as far as branding goes, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like
It's just
so much personal.
Yeah.
It's more of like the collective of UBreak and
you
the
being
mindset
a part of that vision of what top down, you being a part of that,
Right.
and playing your part, your distinctive part in that whole vision.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, it was very,
Right.
very apparent to me early on that it was like I could see that this was going to be a big thing someday, and it was, even though there was only like 9 stores.
How do you tell that something's going to be big? Like, how did you intuit? Is it just intuition?
It was just intuition, I guess.
It's hard.
It's just like,
you
think
gotta
about
believe in the vision too.
You
You
got-
got quit school like that.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What do you have? You've got probably an iPhone. Do you have an iPad?
Yeah.
You got a MacBook. So
Damn, my
the
life.
average person, the average person has 2 or 3 devices that they own, and times however many million people there are, it's
It's just gonna keep growing.
right. And especially, it's changed back and forth a little bit, but phones, like they just started it now again. It used to be, you pay $200 for a phone, sign a 2-year contract, but the phone actually costs like $600, $700. And then they started going away with that and just made you start paying full price for the phone. And it made people realize that, I can spend $150 to fix my phone, and it makes sense because this thing is worth $400 or $500
Sure.
bucks. So earlier on, somebody would come in and, your screen repair is going to be $150. Oh, I only paid $200 for this phone. Why is it $150 screen repair? Well, yeah, you paid $200 for that phone, but really it's a $650 phone.
Sure.
And, there's a lot of
because you got the
misconceptions.
upgrade, so you didn't pay retail.
Right.
Okay, so my question for you, bringing it a little bit local, I mean, as a millennial, one, I would say I'm hearing a lot of murmuring about how much Fort Myers is really like supporting us as millennials.
Millennials.
Can you tell me more about that? Do you know about that? Like,
I mean, not really. I mean, probably, Jesus, obviously your boy Jesus.
Yeah.
I just ran into him. I went to my first like city council meeting
Yeah.
that I was actually, now more than ever, I'm interested in politics, and obviously everybody's paying attention to
Sure.
Trump and everything, but I think it's probably more important to pay attention to what's going on local, because like obviously everybody knows Trump this or Trump that, but do you know who like Cecil Pendergrass is? Lee County Commissioner.
Wow, no.
Right?
I don't.
And honestly, I don't. Like, I just name dropped that because I know he's my guy in my ward or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's it's really up to us people that live here
Right.
to know what's going on. And as a young person, I guess I kind of want to share that. It really is up to us. Like, we got to go out and do it, at the city council meeting.
Because we didn't show up. First off, naturally, we didn't show up for Bernie, and
Yeah,
all of us,
exactly.
like we said, we loved Bernie, but we didn't show up.
No one showed up.
Then we didn't show up. Then we didn't show up for Hillary, even when I think now we're like showing up to all the rallies, but like we didn't show up when it mattered. So, and I think now even people are having the same kind of echoing the same thing of like, yeah, that's important, but like, what about locally?
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, if you paid attention to things at the local level, then like that's, that has the most direct effect on your everyday life. These people are, in control
It's
of
just
the city
like,
and county.
I don't feel like I would fit in a city council meeting locally.
Yeah, it would be weird.
It was definitely interesting going in, and this is just the Fort Myers City Council. It's right around the corner from here. It was very interesting to see. I mean, and this night there was actually a ton of all the skateboarders were there this night because they shut down.
They shut down the
skate
Fort Myers
park, yeah, and
freak?
so all of them like showed up to like basically try to speak, but they weren't on the agenda, so they didn't let them. But I was there for like over an hour, and they were just talking about a walkway that they were thinking about putting. That's going to go through like some people's like along their backyards in like this community, and it was like over an hour, and honestly I was so into it.
Really?
It was like the most boring thing ever, but I was like, man, these people, like, I heard from all the different constituents what their issues were, all the people that basically said we don't want this, and then just I don't know, I guess the topic was very boring, but just seeing it actually happen is starting to be very interesting to me, and I want to be a part of the political process. I think.
What was that transition for you from like? 'Cause I can't name one.
As far as like politics goes,
yeah, like what made that transition for you?
All right,
dude?
so I can answer this pretty well. I mean, I guess like in high school, I never cared anything about politics or anything, like student government stuff. Like I care less. I guess going into college, I started paying attention a little bit, but not really so much. Really, I think the whole going back to like the primaries of this past election is when people felt like really people like really starting to pay attention to politics again. And it was actually the what was it? It was the shooting, the Pulse nightclub shooting, which obviously sucks. Nikki and I put on the news on CNN. I started watching it just like all day, just coverage, and then we put on CNN again the next day, and then like third day we're just watching nothing but CNN and like kids shows, obviously, like kids shows on CNN, and it's like, man, we're adults, aren't we? We're just watching the news. We're like really like interested in this, and we care about it, and we like, we're getting riled up. We it's something that we can feel passionate about, and it's one of those things, like obviously what the whole Curate Collective is about is, you basically hit the nail on the head. People grow up here and they say it's boring, and then they either just piss and moan about it or they leave, and there's nobody actually. Yeah.
When you're, I feel like, because what I realized is that, and this was like, it started at a personal level of like, when I wanted to move to San Diego last year, and as long as I had a short-term vision from where I lived, personally, when you have a short-term investment on anything, you do it differently than a long-term investment. When you're like, I'm about to leave this bitch, like in like 10 minutes, in half a year, whatever, you do things differently. You're not as invested, and you're not as careful, you're not as calculated, because it's just like, whatever, I'm gonna leave here in a little bit, whenever, it doesn't matter, right? But when you have a long-term investment, when you're invested, when you got a business, when you have a family that you want to raise, like when you have these long-term assets that are a part of where you are, where you live, you do things differently. You invest in your company, in your friendships, in your family, in your city. You go to a city town meeting because guess what? You're thinking like, I'm gonna be here in 10 years. I have 5 businesses here, whatever. So I feel like
that one meeting, what actually drew me to that meeting that I didn't even get to stick around for because they were talking about damn bike paths so long, was millennials moving downtown. So I mean, you would actually be,
damn it, I'm so excited, man. All right.
But yeah, I mean, they're basically like, the city of Fort Myers wants millennials downtown, and I think it's absolutely that'd be great. More people. As a business owner in downtown Fort Myers, I would love for more millennials to move downtown. And to be candid, downtown is the slowest store in Southwest Florida. It could use the most help.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's just it has a lot to do with like traffic flows and
Which
stuff.
one do you find is the busiest?
The busiest one is the Forum.
Yeah.
It's like
because it's
the oldest, and it's just the most. like back when we opened it, you know, we picked the spot that's right off the highway because it was nice and central and people could get to it from everywhere.
After you see you kids.
That's crazy because
coming
aside from that, there's like nothing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's getting built up.
Well, Forum is.
They got the new Mo's out there now.
They got the McAllister.
Starbucks moved across the street with the drive-through.
No, man. And I think, like I said, long-term, short-term investment is very different. So at a personal level, I realized that, like, one, when I was dealing with some mental health stuff, I was like, I can't be thinking about leaving anymore. I have to, like, really stay here. I have to be here invested for at least, like, 5 years in my head so that I can, like, settle in, buckle down, and get shit done personally, emotionally, spiritually, business-wise, so that I can actually get some shit done. Because if you're always, like, ready to go, and this is to a lot of my friends who are, like, ready to leave, like, if you're doing anything significant here, you have to have at least, like, a 5-year vision for what you want to do, because I feel like if not, then you're just, like, half-assing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just trying to go, then, like, you're not really going to put as much work in because there's no risk or anything involved. But, like, if you're like, yo, I'm here. So I feel like even with you, man, I feel like it probably, for me and you both, like, I feel like I relate to you a lot because I am interested in, our next guest is going to be a politician.
It's dope.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and I want to get involved.
Can I come back?
Yeah, you could sit in on the next one. You're going to sit in for the next one.
Okay.
Fuck it. Cool. So I feel like, dude, like, anyone listening, man, like, if you're here, if you don't plan on leaving in the next year, like, pretend you're going to be here for, like, 10 years. Would you agree? Like,
yeah, I mean,
definitely.
I think me personally, I've always just been, like, a long-term thinker.
Right.
In general. Like, you know, like in high school, I was thinking about, you know, career down the road. Like, I had no idea it was going to be this. But, you know, I just always, you know, obviously, like, I went out and partied and stuff, but I was always very cognizant of the fact that, like, I'm in college and I'm trying to pass and stuff and just, you know, not do anything too stupid that's going to affect me for the rest of my life, basically.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, I think it's just very important to just, you know,
focus in.
Yeah.
So do you feel like as a millennial, because I do feel there is a support. If you're a millennial and you feel like you're not supported, it's just because we're not looking. Because Fort Myers does have an initiative where they're giving like zero to little interest loans on like places, and like even like Millennial Brewing Company, ironically, you know, like they got
some grants or something, right?
Yeah.
Going, yeah.
Ride Nature down the street, the Ride Nature House. Right. There's a lot of places where, and they're pushing MLK out too, to develop.
Yeah, all of downtown and midtown is like about to get redeveloped, and so like, you know, I can definitely see like what's right over the horizon, like with this downtown store. So, you know, once we realized that a U-break could be needed like every 15 minutes or so, I looked at a map and I was like, all right, we need one there, need one there, need one there, need one there. And downtown was on that map, but I thought, you know, a couple, maybe 2-3 years from now, because I knew things were, you know, happening.
Yeah.
Just around just over the horizon. And was here eating lunch one day. Actually, we were right across the street. It's not. It's about to be Izzy's. I forget what.
Yeah,
the
connection.
The connection. Yeah, we were eating right there for lunch, and happened to see the For Lease sign on the unit right next door to House Pizza, and it was like a small. It's only like less than 600 square feet, and you know, for commercial leases they do it by square footage. So I would love a small unit because that's less money, and it's next door to House Pizza. Like, everybody knows House Pizza.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that's the spot. And
if you're drunk and you're wandering in and you drop your phone, you just stop in there.
So you know, the rent isn't super expensive because it's a small unit. And I was like, all right, let's just do this. You know, like, I know that downtown is going to be, you know, happening pretty soon. It's still on its way. You know, I feel like downtown, like, today is super busy.
Yeah. A lot of tourists out.
But I mean, you know, you got the hotel that's going in. I think it's like $100 million hotel. They're taking over the convention center. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
There's a place being built.
The place.
And I heard that they're developing like what is like by the baseball field, like a millennial sort of community.
Oh, the tech hub. The tech hub. Yeah.
What's up with that?
I'm honestly I'm not the most well versed on this. You should probably get like Jesus back on your realtor.
Yeah.
My friend Johnny Garcia.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah, you know
Johnny.
Yeah,
he's great.
Johnny. He's on the up and up about this stuff. Yeah, I mean that. Kind of like in conjunction with like real estate, politicians, the economy, like all of it. It's very interlinked.
It is, and that's I think about even curate because people are like, I thought it was only going to be about art and stuff. I was like, no, dude, like we need those investors.
That's what I said. When I first saw it, you posted on Facebook. I wrote, I was like, this is awesome. I think it'd be a great segue into getting young people involved in their community, getting involved into local government, and just letting. I mean, honestly, like. It's very intimidating, but the local politicians want to hear from you.
So you feel like you're taken seriously as a millennial entrepreneur, like here locally?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. You feel like there's some hesitation there. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, like normally I would just be like, no, I'm just like franchisee. Like at the end of the day, I'm just franchisee. Like I didn't really do anything like on myself, but it was my own drive that got me to.
There was still risk involved, right?
Oh yeah. I mean the going a couple episodes back from Nice Guys, Giovanna, she said something like that ounce.
It's Yovana because I got it bad so bad. I got it wrong so many times that I know it now. It's Yovana.
All right, Yovana. Shout out to Yovana.
Shout out to Nice Guys.
It's that ounce of fearlessness, that sort of jump, that leap, and it's kind of like the recurring theme of like just do it, just like get out there and do it. Yeah, like and well, as far as business goes. Don't just do a little
calculated
preparation.
Risk.
Yeah,
calculated risk. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it hit me like packed up the U-Haul, about to drive back home, moving in with mom and dad, voluntarily moving back in with mom and dad,
right.
borrowing money,
right.
Adding more debt on top of the student loan debt that I had now, which is just debt because I didn't get a degree. And it's just like, oh man, I'm really doing this. This is scary. And then then you go through the whole process of getting the store open, and that takes a couple months.
Wow.
And then day one, all right, we're open. $0, no sales. Second day being open, all right. One customer came in. We did one sale. Third day, the first customer came back for warranty issue. So it's just like a very, very slow start, and the first few weeks, few months, I mean, it sucked. It's tough. Wow. I mean,
would you say that's one of the biggest challenges too, from like owning your own company and like working at like a Publix or Best Buy or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially being one of the owners, you want to keep your payroll low, so you want to do all the work yourself, basically. So we opened. What was it? It was a little bit before Christmas, I think. And from then until like March, it was like a solid like 3-4 months where I worked like 7 days a week until I got to the point where I could hire another person and then like start taking off like 2 days a week.
Have you found it easier too to like hire your friends? Like you're more trustworthy with them, so it kind of makes it a little easier.
Yes, and trustworthy, definitely. Yeah, I definitely. That was one issue that I never really had to worry about. Is I always trusted all my friends.
Wow. So that means you surround yourself with some good people.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's definitely a fine line to walk. Being in business with friends. You definitely need to kind of like set boundaries, so to speak, and define roles clearly.
That's hard.
That's tough with friends.
Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, if you're a part of the Wedding Collective now, so I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but you basically, I'm assuming you have business partners.
The videographer is like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out a working relationship, and or even if the customer's your friend, you as my friend. When I did your wedding, I still had to keep that like, hey, we're friends, but like, here's a contract just in case shit goes wrong. So there's still that balance. Whether it's your colleague that's your friend or it's your customer that's your friend, you got to learn how to balance that role out. You want to give them a break on the discount, but like, this is still my business. And I like, so when I go to you, like, hey man, I need help with my laptop. I got a DJ. It's like, I don't expect you to be like, yo, I'm gonna fix your laptop for free.
Yeah.
But there's like this like maybe hope that like we're friends, you got my back, I got your back. I didn't charge.
The bar. Well, yeah. I mean, whenever I fix something for you, I know you're gonna give me a shout out.
Right,
I know
sure.
you've got like 50 million friends on Facebook. Just that alone is the shout out there is probably worth however many dollars.
Some leads right there. No, and it is a bar. You can say that.
Yeah, I've traded tattoo work for PlayStation disk drive replacements, and like the barter system.
Yeah,
works
because everything has value.
Yeah,
and dude, it's just like I never, even with Curate, we have videographers, we have writers, we have all kinds of different people. Even these guys right here, I try my best to try and give. Even if it's like, hey, we made $1 off this podcast, like here's 50 cents. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has value. Nothing, and those of you guys listening out there, everything you do, whether you're just a beginning artist, what you're doing has value. You gotta find the person who sees the value in it. Definitely. And even what you're doing has high value. God, like you guys are in a perfect market. People will continually break
future proof. That's one thing that I was looking at. Like when I started, when I had only worked for UBreak for like 2 months, 3 months, and it hit me that I would love to open up my own store. The realization was this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like gonna be like a fad that like wears off or something. It's like there's always going to be devices now, and they're always going to break.
As long as Apple keeps making glass screens.
Yeah, I don't believe that they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna start releasing stuff that doesn't break.
Sure.
Because like realistically, they probably could already if they made it with like.
Bruh, come on, we could totally make an unbreakable screen if we wanted to.
But I mean, as as stuff gets more complex, like that, like the curved screens, like the S6 Edge, S7 Edge. It's like $450.
Bro, it's curved. You have a curved screen.
Yeah, and it's like literally, it's like I don't know. I don't have.
What about with this like touch sensitive crap on the?
On like
doesn't that add?
Yeah. So like the iPhone 6s is a lot more expensive to fix than the 6 because of that the
just
3D touch.
Because it can read your whatever.
Yeah.
The pressure.
And
just everything's so.
Does anybody actually use that? I don't use it.
It is funny how
I accidentally use it.
It took me like a year to figure out how it works.
Yeah.
Bro, it's funny though because we act like shit like that. It's like, we used to think it like in movies. Like we used to be like, oh yeah, your fingerprint. Like now it's like, oh, fucking fingerprint. Yeah. Fuck that shit. It's like, that's like a futuristic idea back in like,
Well, yeah, I mean, in Mr. Riddle's class, we watched Back to the Future 2, and they were in 2015, and he was paying for stuff with it.
With your fingerprint.
Yeah, like the dude's like literally like paying for his taxi. His flying taxi with his thumbprint, and now it's like, I called up an Uber and I paid with my...
I don't even want to use my fingerprint. It's just stupid. Yeah. Hey, real quick before we go, we're hitting some time here. What would I like to ask people before they leave, like any advice they would give to someone in their position, maybe 5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. You specifically, maybe an entrepreneur who's listening, like, damn, I got that business. I have friends who want to start apps or... different companies, like what would you personally, from your personal experience with your personal like makeup and personality and stuff, like what kind of advice would you give out to people, man?
Just, calculated risk, do your homework, do your research, but also at the same time listen to your gut, like for instance, when we scout store locations, right, there's a lot of quantifiable data that you can go over. Population density, traffic counts, all this different stuff. But, for me, I saw a spot next to downtown, or next to Downtown House Pizza, and I was like, yeah, that feels like the right spot. That feels right,
Yeah.
And like I said, it's like the slowest store in the area right now, but I can see what's just over the horizon. Definitely. And I know in the coming years, as downtown continues to get redeveloped, as once the hotel and convention center, like they're building a whole hotel and then they're taking over the convention center, so that's going to be like a big deal. Like they're going to have
game changer, man.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Hopefully it'll draw like bigger, like Orlando, for instance, just has so many hotels and stuff, and they have all conferences for like every single sort of business. People go to Orlando, and they could definitely do stuff like that here.
So it's like that. I think in the end, it's like that balance between intuition and calculation.
It's like a little bit of, kind of like power of positive thinking. Yeah. Almost in like a, I don't know, like it's easy for me to say everything happens for a reason because I've got a really good life. Yeah. And I'm super fortunate. I've had like no really like major struggles. Sure. to overcome. But yeah, almost in like a quasi-religious sort of way, you know, everything happens for a reason. Follow your gut, follow your intuition, but at the same time, you know, stay thinking about things.
How do you foster intuition? Because I feel like maybe sometimes I frustrate people because I have so much intuition. I live my life off of intuition, right? How do we foster that? How do we cultivate, if you have maybe less intuition or you're maybe a more calculated person? Because I know how you calculate, right? You got to do it's literally practical. It's like go out, Google shit, calculate, find the risk, blah, blah, blah. But intuition seems like a little bit harder to do. You can't just research intuition. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of like...
Well, that might be one of those things you can't really teach either. You know, like we were talking about customer service. You know, some people have it, some people don't. You know, like not everybody is going to be Henry Ford. Not everybody's going to be Thomas Edison. Sure. You know, like it's
and maybe it's just hanging around people who have that, and this, because a lot about intuition is like freedom. You know, like it's like freeing yourself. Is giving yourself maybe some permission to like take that risk. And I know for me, how I grow with calculation is being around my friend Russ Johnson, or even Jesus, who's very calculated. You know, they do their research before they do that. And my friend Russ is like a very strategic person. So for me, being around him, I'm seeing the different parts he's always thinking about. And so it challenges me. But for someone like who's maybe more calculated, maybe it's just being around. Like if you're listening or watching, like surround yourself with some people who just like go off of that intuition and maybe see, you know, how they do it and maybe some of the freedom that they live in that. So I don't know. I think I just want to always give like some nuggets, and I think calculated risk is a beautiful summary of what we talked about, man. It's really, really cool, man, to see like the execution of UBreakiFix in Southwest Florida, and to see like the whimsical nature of what you're doing with your friends who also are your business partners, and you guys got your shit together, but you guys also like each other. It's like a perfect balance, and I think it's really cool, man. Like I look up to you guys like business wise, because that's where I'm trying to grow. So, and you're killing it, man.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Man. I appreciate you coming on the show. You have a great family, man. Like, congrats on your kids.
Thank you. Very lucky. Yeah. Very fortunate, man.
Shouts out to Nikki. Shouts out to the dude Hunter, Austin, Andrew, Matt, Ringland, all y'all.
Yeah, I mean, like I was actually thinking about it on the way here, like the amount of people from Cape Coral that are now like owners, and yeah, I mean, I can go like if I think chronologically, all the people that I've gotten involved, it's like Brandon Pnew, he went to Baker 09. Yeah. Matt Ringland, Baker 09. Let's see, Andrew Jennings, Jason Weimer, Jeremy Azinger right here in downtown. Shit, you got Mike out in Mike Dawson, Mike Malone. Yeah, Mike Dawson, Mike Malone. Andy, Hunter, Andrew Haynes went to Baker. And all these people graduated from between like 2006 to 2010. Yeah. Mariner and Baker, and most recently, actually, my brother-in-law, Nikki's brother. About like a year and a half ago, he kind of saw how well I was doing and changed his mindset, and he just moved out to Reno, Nevada. And opened up a U-Break out there, and I'm sure he's going to do. He would like to do more.
Brandon's the one in Colorado, right?
No. Brandon is in Texas. He's between San Antonio and Austin, Texas. And then
vegan making me feel like shit about my life every time he posts his.
I'll never feel bad.
No, man, dude.
I'm aspiring. Nikki's vegetarian. I always say I'm aspiring.
You're aspiring
vegetarian.
Dude, man, thank you. Shouts out to UBreakiFix, all the guys there. Guys and girls, whoever, thank you guys for doing what you're doing. Thanks for saving my life multiple times. Justin, dude, long time. It's been really cool to see you grow. Really cool to see your journey, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'll come back anytime.
Yeah, we'll get you back on here. Edwin, Kyle, thanks for hanging with us.
Definitely.
Thanks for another week, all the listeners. You guys have a good week, and tune in next week for another podcast. Yeah, we out. We out.